Okay, welcome back, everyone. We now move to the next session, the Libroscope, Liberating Biodiversity Data by Dr. Donat Agosti, founder of Plazi, Switzerland. Dr. Agosti is a Swiss biologist with over 30 years of experience focused on making biodiversity data openly accessible. He co-founded Plazi in 2008, a Swiss NGO that develops workflows to convert scientific literature into fair data. Please take over.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you confirm that you can hear me?
We can hear you, Donat.
We can. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
just go ahead.
Dear Gita, dear organizers, dear participants, dear colleagues, I'm deeply honored to stand before you today, even it's remote, among people who are not only curious about the world, but committed to understanding it, and even more importantly, to sharing that understanding with everyone. Because that is what brings us together, not just the pursuit of knowledge, but the belief that knowledge must be free to reach anyone, anywhere, at any time. As a child, discovery was not an abstract idea to me. It was a feeling. I would wander into the forests and cornfields near my home, driven by curiosity, searching for things that I did not yet understand. I often got lost, but in getting lost, I learned something essential. Every answer leads to new questions. And there was another place of discovery, the library. A place where one book would lead to another, where curiosity had no boundaries. I remember opening a large book filled with real wood samples, touching them, comparing them, amazed by their diversity. Long before I understood that what I was experiencing was biodiversity. What mattered was not just what I learned, but I realized how much there was still to learn. Later, school and university gave that curiosity a structure. Science taught me how to ask questions properly, how to observe, measure, compare. And then came the opportunity to work in the field, to walk for weeks across coastal ecosystems in Tanzania, counting steps between vegetation types, learning plant names from my professor and from my experts like Mrs. Kabuye in the East African Herbarium in Nairobi. I saw how knowledge lives, not only in books, but in people. I passed from one generation to the next. At the same time, the world began to speak about biodiversity crisis in 1992 at the Rio Earth Summit in Brazil. And for a scientist, a crisis is not just a warning, it's a responsibility. Because a crisis means change, and change must be understood. But how do you measure change in something you don't fully know? Biodiversity is not only the animals we see or the plants we recognize. It is mostly the unseen, the dark taxa, the vast majority of life that forms the foundation of ecosystems. To protect biodiversity, we must first know it. To know it, we must be able to find it. And to find it, we must have access to it. And that is where we faced and still face a fundamental problem. For decades, knowledge about biodiversity was locked away in books, in journals, in personal collection photocopies. To access it, you had to travel. to meet the one person who had gathered it over a lifetime, to copy the copies. Knowledge existed, but it was not accessible. And inaccessible knowledge cannot change the world. Then came the digital revolution in the 90s. Suddenly, it became possible to scan, to share, to connect. Catalogs became digital. Publication became PDFs. Data could travel across the world in seconds. For the first time, we could imagine a world where knowledge is not limited by geography, by institutions, or by privilege. A world without boundaries and barriers. But access alone is not enough. We do not just need access and knowledge to be available. We need it to be understandable, connected, and usable. We need to make the inherent structure of scientific knowledge explicit. We need structure, we need meaning, we need systems that allow machines and humans to work together. And this is where your work begins. Because imagine this, if all biodiversity knowledge, millions of pages, thousands of publications every year were structured, connected, and machine readable, we could ask a simple question. Show us the list of known species alive on Earth. And we would get an answer that is at the same time a gateway to the knowledge about biodiversity. But today, we cannot. And that is why you're here. The challenge before us is enormous. Hundreds of millions of pages of knowledge, fragmented, inaccessible, and unstructured. So is the opportunity. We at Platzi and in our community, we call our approach to liberate the data from publication prison the Libroscope. Like a telescope reveals the hidden structure of the universe, the Libroscope reveals the hidden structure of knowledge. It allows us to focus on literature, to extract, connect, and liberate the information it contains. Publication by publication, page by page, fact by fact. Until what was once scattered becomes visible. But this is not a task for one person, or one institution, or one country. This is a global effort. We need scientists, we need libraries, we need engineers, we need data experts, we need curators, we need funders, we need politicians. And foremost, we need people like you, curious, motivated, and willing to build something that does not yet fully exist. Because this is not just about technology. It is about fairness, it is about access, it is about giving every researcher, citizen, scientist, everywhere in the world, the same opportunity to see, understand, and to contribute. We are already making progress. Every year, thousands of species are liberated from the literature, their knowledge extracted, structured, and made accessible and reused. But this is only the beginning. This week is your entry point to this journey. You will learn how the system works, you will use them, you will question them, and perhaps you will improve them. Because the future of biodiversity knowledge will not be built by a few experts. It will be built by communities, by collaborations, by people who believe that knowledge should not remain hidden. The Business Roadmap launched in 2024. Peter, Felipe, and Julia were present gives us a direction for the next 10 years. But the real momentum comes from you. So I invite you not just to learn, but to participate. Not just to understand, but to contribute. Not just to access knowledge, but to help to liberate it. Because somewhere in a book, on a shelf, there is knowledge that could change how we understand life on Earth. And together, we can set it free. Thank you, and I wish you an inspiring and transformative week.
Thank you, Donat. I think you can hear us, right?
I can hear you, yes, very well.
He can hear it. Okay. Does anyone have questions for Donat? And then I can bring you the mic. Just raise your hand and I'll bring it to you. Okay. Yeah. Donat, one question that we got from a couple of people earlier today is if you could briefly explain where the name of Plazi came from.
Plazi is a short name of Placius Aspasia. Placius Aspasia was a monk who was living from 1760 to 1833 in the monastery of Disentis. So he was a monk in the age of enlightenment, and he was believing that it is as much important to pray in the church, to go out and discover the nature and document the nature, the wealth of our environment. And for us, Plazi was sort of emblem of what we do. We think it's also important actually to make all the data accessible. So we choose it as our name saint.
Thanks, Donat. So I don't think you want to hold on.
I mean, Donat, first of all, not a question, but a comment that all the compliments for the great job that you have initiated, and we can see its, its implication, its fruits now spreading across. I have been talking to your colleagues also here that this is an effort that really needs to move across places. There are places, say in India, for example, where people would like to kind of work on these fronts, but probably they are not aware about these kinds of platforms. One second, what are the possibilities of learning from you? So I was given to understand by your colleagues also that there are possibilities of having the online sessions with your team and with your colleagues from any part of the world to learn, right?
Yes, that's possible.
Yes, in that direction, how do you suggest that we are able to engage more and more young people to deal with this kind of locked data in different formats? Well, what are your suggestions? I mean, given your experience, how do you think we can scale it up in the places like India?
One is a first step, I think, is that you learn to use it and make use of it. And so other people want to find out and they want to copy you and want to participate. A bit more active would be to learn really the systems we use and then be teacher and make more courses. And then the third one is what we need to make more what they call PR. We need to be more outspoken about it.
Thank you very much.
But you can ask Julia. Julia, she is the master of outreach, and she has a plan in her mind.
Yeah, they have been talking quite a bit. So, but yeah, anyone else?
Yeah, Donat, can I ask a question? Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you very well, Peter.
Yeah, so I was thinking in the last 2 days, Donat, we have realized that there is so much common between the toolkits that we've had, the semantic toolkit as well as the Plazi toolkit. What is the possibility that we might combine these? The thing we are realizing from our delegates is that multiple things can be done if we combine toolkits. But do you think that is in the past, how have you handled ideas of merging toolkits from different um, different groups? For example, there are collaborations and there are toolkit merging jobs. I think that is not as simple as it sounds as a collaboration alone. Do you have any views about that? Thank you.
Yes, this is a continuous discussion. For example, the issue about annotations, how much do you annotate in a text? How much do you make a text semantically understandable? And for example, we have a strong collaboration with the Swiss Institute of Bioinformatics and their library system, where we are building or co-building the Biodiversity PubMed Central, which includes not just the PubMed literature, but also biodiversity literature, like almost 2 million items now, which are just there because of this effort from our side. But they are really specialized in annotation at sentence or below level. So they have all the tools to annotate like protein sequences and so on. So in this case, we decided they are really specialized in that and they would do this job. But we need to discuss, I mean, this is all open, how we collaborate and also what we need in terms of output.